Oh, very good afternoon. Dinariak asked me to do a presentation on CIBA, client-initiated back-channel authentication. Well, I'm not prepared well, but I came up with a story. So let's begin with the story. Not week, like my friend Bob went to a mall. He purchased everything, but while he's at the counter, he forgot that he missed his wallet or he lost his wallet. So let's find out what happened. Yeah, he purchased everything and he has a nice family. He forgot that he realized that he forgot his wallet, and the conversation continues with the counter girl. And he is trying to find out there are any means of paying, and she asks for whether she has a subscribe to pay here app, and he said yes. And so now he's going to pay through his phone number, right? Okay. Okay, so the push notification comes to his mobile app. He's going to approve the transaction. Yes, he did. The payment is success. So how it's possible? How this scenario is made possible? Obviously, that pay here app should have been a reason. And the second one is CIBA, which is powered by WSO2 identity server. What CIBA? Client initiated back-channel authentication. So in most of the enterprise systems which run on OpenID Connect, there is a user interaction or user requesting for authentication through his service requests. But in some cases, there is a necessity where the client initiating the authentication request. So say you are subscribed to Medium and it's a monthly subscription. So after the end of a month, in the new month, Medium wants to do a transaction, like he wants to get the payment. But what it does is it initiates the authentication requests. So you need to authenticate to pay yourself. So the push notification comes to your bank account, bank app, and you authenticate from that app, and now the transaction is being done. So the consumption device is the Medium app, the authentication device is your bank applications, right? And here, like we could see that the devices are decoupled. Authentication is done in a different thing, and the consumption is on a different device. And there is no need that the user, there's no need like user initiates. I mean, like user doesn't need to give his identifiers or his username or something. The client can initiate, but it is like, there can be a situation where the user gives his identity and the client starts it. Like, so from here, you can see that here the end user is giving his identity. So as in the scenario we have seen, he's giving his phone number, but it is not mandatory. We can leave that part. So the actual CIBA starts from this point, consumption device, and we have a proxy. It is because we have so much of polling, and since we are moving towards a distributed architecture than the monolithic one, so we have used proxy, and the authentication request comes to the CIBA proxy. We validate the request and we return a identifier, that's auth request identifier. And at the same time, the authentication request comes to our identity server. And so like identity server push the notification and the request for the consent and the credentials to the authentication device. And the end user provides the consent and credentials. Once the credentials comes, we provide, like hereafter, it's just the authorized code flow. We send the authorized code, and the proxy sends back the authorized code and get the token. And from this point, consumption device will be polling for token. And if it does, like if there is no token available, there will be an error response. If there is a token, he will get the token. And you can see that the consumption device is totally decoupled from authentication device. And as of now, we don't have any decoupled authenticators in WSO.IS. Biometric authenticator is coming up, but what we do is like we patch email OTP. That is, rather than sending an OTP, we send a URL so that we could fulfill the flow. And yes, it's a demo time, so okay. So this would be the payment console. So he'll be choosing the Pay Here app. We need to provide the user identity. Okay. So now you can see the request has been sent and the response is being received. And now, okay. So it starts falling for the token, and I got the email OTP on my email, right? So you can see that we need to provide the claim. Sorry, not the claim, the consent. So I have given the consent, and the token response is received. So if you want, I can do again. It's a bit slow, I guess. Yeah, I got the OTP code, and that's actually a URL. I need to provide the consent. At the same time, you can see we got the code. So the probable use cases are, almost of the transactions to confirm the transactions. Say if you are subscribed to let's say whatever the mobile services, say you have subscribed for a package, and after a month you are going to, like, they will send you a notification to confirm the package and authenticate to the transaction. You can have it. And then any other subscription services, banking transaction, we can integrate this feature into open banking as well. And yes, and if the proxy has a physical structure, I think it would look like this. It might give you a better idea, I'm not sure. So the request comes, this is the talk endpoint. So we validate and we add them to the store. And at the same time, we notify this handler to initiate the request to the server. And it comes, and there will be a CIBA authenticator. And what it does is it validates the proxy. We need to configure the proxy, and hence we need to validate it. And then it comes. Here we use the email OTP, but yes, you can use the biometric, and you get the confirmation from here. And then you send a code to the callback endpoint, and then you ask for the token, and you get it, and you store it back here. And he will be polling for the token, and you can get it back. That's it. So any queries or questions? Shall I take it as a compliment? Okay, so thank you.